Xbox is currently running the biggest gamble in all of video game history. They're literally paying billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, literally, to try and successfully pivot from the current model of games where there's an upfront cost or free to play with microtransactions. And they're trying to make a Netflix model. Game Pass has been a very big bet, and I think it's all about to collapse. The early numbers are beginning to sort of leak out about how many people are getting Game Pass for Call of Duty, and they're not great. But let's talk, because I do truly believe that this is the end for Xbox as we currently know it, and we're going to take a look at some numbers to explain why. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, Black Ops is about to come out. Black Ops 6. Technically, some people have already started to play it. You can technically play it via access, via Game Pass, or buying it on Friday. Right now, some people, though, are doing the thing where you switch your Xbox to saying you're in New Zealand. So technically, you can play it right now. And I will admit, as a person that played the Black Ops 6 beta, I really, really enjoyed it. I actually think the new omnidirectional movement where you can dive and run in every single direction at the same speed, it's an interesting mechanic. I'm not sure how much my old man nerves will be able to keep up with a lot of these whippersnappers, but I give them credit for constantly trying to evolve the classic Call of Duty formula. But I have said multiple times this year that this is the final big hurrah. This is the big bet. All these acquisitions that Microsoft has been doing now for the last 10 years, the Bethesda deal, buying Call of Duty for $69 billion, this stuff is supposed to bolster Game Pass. It's pretty obvious. Phil Spencer's talking about it. Satya Nadella, the head of Microsoft, these people are very explicitly stating the purpose of these purchases is to make Game Pass finally profitable. I mean, the whole idea is that instead of selling you a single $60 or $70 game, you'll subscribe to their service for $20 a month. And while in the short end they lose money, it pays off in the back end, right? Well, the first numbers are beginning to come out, and they're not great. 2.5 million to possibly 4 million new Game Pass subscribers. This is abysmally bad. Now, some people are kicking around whether or not these numbers are legit, if they're good expectations. One of the quotes is by Michael Pachter, and a lot of people really like to mock it because Michael Pachter at one point, even his predictions a lot of times when it comes to Xbox have been at times really, really off. A couple of years back, Michael Pachter predicted that by 2028 there would be 100 million Game Pass subscribers. Here we are in 2024, and the numbers continue to drop. But even by his own expectations, his own predictions here, he's essentially saying that it sounds like Call of Duty is going to bring in some new people, but it's also going to lose a lot of profit. In the article itself, they're pretty explicit about the fact that this is probably going to get 2.5 completely new people who have not had Game Pass to sign up for it, but it's also going to end up costing them probably around 6 million sales. Now, this is extra bad because you could just theoretically subscribe for 1 month, play it for a bit, and then cancel the service, right? I think that's what most people are going to do. So even these new signups, probably not the best sign. And a lot of people are chiming in on this, saying, okay, well, if you're just subscribing for that, that seems not too bad. But how many of these people are actually going to stay subscribed? How many of these people that are currently checking it out are going to stick around? This was always the whole point of these acquisitions, is going, okay, it's a gateway drug, right? I mean, Game Pass does have hundreds and hundreds of games of it. Current stuff, back catalog. The purpose has clearly from the very beginning been, all right, subscribe for a particular game. You're excited for Indiana Jones, or you're excited for Hellblade, or you like to play Sea of Thieves with your friends. You subscribe for one game, and maybe you'll install something else. You'll want to stay in our ecosystem because it's got this big, instantly accessible library. It's sort of the Netflix model, right? You sign up to watch a particular show of Great British Bake Off or some new movie or whatever, and then once you like that, you keep scrolling. You keep finding new stuff, so you stay with the service. But the problem is that with Game Pass, it really doesn't seem like that's the case. It does seem like Game Pass, for whatever reason, continues to bleed subscribers like crazy. This is an article from 8 months ago that I saw a lot of people discussing, which is that Game Pass claimed earlier this year they've grown to 34 million subscribers. And a lot of people in the comments are actually pointing out, okay, well, this is technically a bit of a white lie that Microsoft is telling because they're converting. Used to, there was just Xbox Live Gold. There was like the lowest tier where people were just signing up to have online multiplayer, right? The lowest tier of Xbox Live was just, all right, you could play online and nothing else. And then there was Game Pass, which actually allowed you to play the games. But now it's all different forms of Game Pass. Now there's Game Pass Core instead of Xbox Live Gold. Now instead of having Game Pass Ultimate, now we have different tiers of standard. I can't even remember. There's so many different tiers of Game Pass. I can't even remember. So technically, while this does look good on paper, they've not grown in 2 years. Now, what's funny is that because this article is now a couple of months ago, the amount of Xbox, I'm not going to say fanboy, but a lot of these people are saying, oh man, I can't wait till Call of Duty gets announced, and they grow to over 40 million. I mean, it's funny to see these big astronomical numbers. I think there's someone down here also saying it'll probably break 50 million. Like, I respect these people's optimism, but at the same time, I think that this is the big final hurrah. I've been saying this for months, and I'm going to double down on this prediction. This was supposed to be the home run, the big gambits. This was supposed to be that chance for them to actually buy their way into the industry. Microsoft has trillions of dollars. Nobody else has as much. So they are able to make the big experimental moves that other companies just simply can't afford. Like, I'll be honest, it's pretty obvious. I mean, Sony could never, ever, ever try something this big because Sony needs the PlayStation to sell. They need PlayStation exclusives to sell. If you're wondering why it is that so many PlayStation games manage to sell so much, it's because they polish them, they internally test them. It seems like they're really obsessed with trying to make sure they meet market expectations so you keep wanting to play it. Other than Concord. You know, of course there are bad PlayStation games, but it does seem like Metacritic-wise they aim for the fences, and they usually get there. Microsoft's attempt to really shift change to make it so everybody is at least tempted to try the Netflix model, I think it's flopped. I predicted about 3 months ago that this would be the lowest selling Call of Duty in the last 10 years. I think this game is not going to flop, but I think you're going to see a lot of headlines saying it underperformed. It had the lowest fan base, the lowest concurrent players, the lowest amount of people interested in it. And it's weird because I think this is a good COD. I think they actually decided to do something different, and it succeeded in the short term. But a good game doesn't always mean big bucks. But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Does this stuff actually interest you? I'm always fascinated by these big industry changes because when they succeed, I mean, it's interesting to watch everybody try to play catch up. And when they fail, it's kind of interesting to hyper-analyze, to post-mortem the bad propositions. But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Oh man, Halloween's coming up. Halloween in 1 week. You got your costume? Should I wear my costume in a video? I've got a gigantic 80s wig. It's the worst.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.